Married at 15, Margaret had 4 babies within the next 5 years. Her husband left the family after the birth of the last child. When Margaret found that she was unable to cope with raising her children, she asked an agency to arrange foster care for them, and she obtained psychiatric help for herself. 5 years later, she was able to resume caring for her children, who now live at home with her.
Your friends turn away from you when something like this happens. You may kill somebody. You can sexually abuse a child. You can murder somebody. You can rob a bank. You can even assassinate a president. And there is always a group of people ready to support you. But if you give up your children, you are worse than scum. And nobody backs you up. It is the worst crime you could ever commit, is making sure your children have a stable home life. I can remember the feeling well, and I just choke up thinking about it. You have nobody, which is why a very strong social worker and sympathetic foster parents are very important. It took a lot of encouragement from my mother for me to go to visit. I know if I did not have her encouragement, I would have found an excuse to not go, because I woke up that morning not feeling very good. And as the day progressed towards the afternoon when I was to go and visit them, I was sure I was coming down with something. Actually, I was looking for an excuse not to go. If there had been liquor around, I'm sure I would have gotten drunk. Or if there had been dope, I probably would have taken that. Anything to bolster my courage. You're going to visit your children in somebody else's home. They are doing what you should be able to do for them. The guilt complex is overwhelming. You just can't describe it. Walking into a house and having your children call somebody else mommy and daddy. You want them to. You want them to be treated as their own children. You want them to call them mommy and daddy, to feel this much relaxed with them, to go to them with their problems, but you don't want it. You're their mother. They are nothing but caretakers for the children, and this is very difficult to face.
Letting go of your child to be out of your control and knowing that you, as a parent, that was the best thing you could do for them, even though that's counterintuitive to being a parent.
And you didn't know at the time if it was the right decision.
You hoped and prayed it was, but you were just, that is very hard to let your child out of your control, especially when you know that they're hurting and they need something that you haven't been able to give them.
It's a great decision.
I feel like God led us here, and that God nurtured Keith in a way that we had overlooked he needed, and that the Hope Harbor, through the counseling and working, him doing his goal work, and him finding what he needed within himself, helped us to realize the way we needed to parent him. And it wasn't terribly different what we've been doing, but it was different. We needed to stop and take a breath and see what he needed. And Hope Harbor gave us that sanctuary to do that we felt comfortable our child was cared for while we were reorganizing ourselves.